those days immediately preceding the high holidays. And during this month of Elul, we begin each day with the blowing of the shofar to awaken our consciences, to awaken our consciousness regarding our very special relationship with God. We engage in something called tshuva, that is returning to our true and authentic selves during this time of year. Well, this week's Torah portion, Nitzavim Vayelech, which happens to be a double portion, comes very close to the end of the yearly cycle of the reading of the Torah. We will be reading from Sedra Nitzavim, which is found in the 29th chapter of Deuteronomy. There are only 32 chapters in Deuteronomy, so we will be finishing the reading of the Torah for this year just ending very soon. Now, many congregations in America will be reading from Sedra Nitzavim on Yom Kippur morning. It's very relevant and it is very provocative, especially for us in our contemporary society. I believe that this Torah portion speaks of three very important issues facing the Jewish people in our time. The first one is the role of clergy. That is the role of rabbis and cantors in relationship to the laity, people who are not ordained or invested to be clergy in our community. The second issue is women, the equality of women. And the third issue is, how do we relate to the growing number of non-Jewish people that we find in our synagogues and temples? Many people are marrying into the Jewish people these days, and they don't formally convert. What is our relationship with them, and what is our responsibility to them and their responsibility to us? Let's take a look at the portion itself. Atem nitzavim hayom kulchem lifnei Adonai Elohechem, roshechem, shiftechem, ziknechem, v'shotrechem, kol ish Yisrael, tapchem, nishechem, v'gercha, asher b'kerev machanecha, mechotev, etzecha, ad shoev mimecha. You stand this day, all of you, before the eternal your God, your tribal heads, your elders, and your officials, all the men of Israel, your children, your women, even the stranger within your camp, from wood chopper to water drawer, to enter into the covenant of the eternal your God, which the eternal your God is concluding with you this day with its sanctions, in order to establish you this day as God's people, and in order to be your God as promised you and as sworn to your fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I make this covenant with its sanctions, not with you alone, but both with those who are standing here with us this day before the eternal our God, and with those who are not with us here today. So what we see in the Torah is a flattening of hierarchy. The covenant isn't just for the leaders. It isn't just for the rabbis and the priests in those days. It wasn't just for the educated class. It was for everyone. Certainly the upper part of Israelite society. Those people were obviously in the covenant. But it goes on to say that the guy who chops your wood, the guy who draws your water, who brings your water to you, the water bearer, he too is part of this covenant. Doesn't matter if you're rich, doesn't matter if you're poor, it doesn't matter if you're educated, everybody is part of this covenant. So we see a call, I believe, to us in our day and age for all people, not just rabbis and cantors, to live authentically Jewish lives, but everyone. Sometimes rabbis and cantors talk about being the surrogate Jews. That, if people belong to a synagogue, they go, well, the rabbi and the cantor, they will do those things. We don't have to. They look after those things for us. This Torah portion says, no, that's not the right thing. Everyone, to the best of his or her ability, must be involved and be active in this covenant. The second issue here is the status of women. Now, we have to remember that the Torah was written in a very patriarchal time, a time when men were in control of most of the affairs of the community. But we see within the Torah itself a certain evolution in the status of women. And today we have evolved to a place where women are ordained as rabbis and invested as cantors. We have so many women presidents of our congregations throughout America, and the status of women has risen to a place that is equal. But does equal mean that the genders are exactly the same? Well, there is a debate within the feminist community as to what are the special gifts that women might bring to this covenant. And we men might ask ourselves, what are the special gifts as men that we bring to this covenant with God? And now the third issue, the issue of the ger, this stranger who lives within our community. In contemporary Hebrew and modern Hebrew, the word ger refers to a convert. But in the Bible, that word did not mean convert because there was no official conversion ceremony in the Torah. It simply meant someone who lived in our community. When we left Egypt, many people came with us. Many non-Jews came with us. In our day and age, many non-Jewish people are marrying Jewish people, and they're raising their kids as Jews. They may not formally convert, but they participate actively in the life of the Jewish community. And I believe, just as in ancient times, that we should give these people a very special status. They too, to some extent or another, even though they haven't formalized their relationship with the Jewish people, I believe that they too should be in some way or another included in this covenant. Well, I hope that you will read this week's Torah portion and come to your own conclusions. Shabbat Shalom, and I suppose at this time of year we can begin saying to each other, L'shana Tova Tikatevu. May you be inscribed in the book of life for health, for life, for prosperity. Shabbat Shalom.